So Sony has confirmed who they're partnering with to make the chips for their next generation console, and there's no way I could have guessed who would AMD, I mean be. It's Sunday, so let's get sensational. I'm Mike, and I'm back to talk about the gaming news. And what's popping in the news right now is the PS6, or whatever Sony chooses to call their next generation console, because they made an announcement about who they're partnering with and the tech in their upcoming system. So Sony, unsurprisingly, has decided to continue their partnership with AMD for the next generation of console. Microsoft is basically doing the same thing, which will actually come up later in this video in a different story, but they put out an announcement trailer basically talking about their partnership with AMD for their next generation of Xboxes. Well, Sony took a different approach with their announcement trailer by having Mark Cerny sit down with AMD's vice president, and they basically did a technical deep dive on all the new technology that they're going to be putting into their next generation system. The video they put out was 8 minutes long, and it definitely felt like 8 minutes because, let's be honest, it was kind of boring. Look, as someone who's into tech and has a basic understanding of CPU and GPU architectures, I thought it was boring. But to save you 8 minutes of your life that I can't get back myself, they're basically creating what they're calling neural arrays, and that's going to be used to link some of the compute units together for faster communication between the compute units, which in theory should enable things like faster ray tracing and path tracing performance, as well as faster machine learning, aka it'll be better for FSR, their machine learning based upscaling tech. They also mentioned they're doing a new type of image compression that they're calling universal compression that should save on GPU bandwidth without sacrificing image quality. Right now, they said that this is all being tested in simulation, but then Mark Cerny goes on to say that we should get to see it in action a few years from now, which we can assume that means in the PlayStation 6. And that would make a lot of sense because all the rumors have pointed to around 2027 for the next generation consoles, but it could easily slip to 2028 since at that point the consoles will be around 8 years old. And let's be honest, they really haven't gotten the most out of these consoles so far, and they've already been out for 5 years. Anyway, I know I said earlier that the video was boring, but I do think that it's cool that they did a look at the tech behind the scenes, and they made it more of an interesting video rather than just saying, hey, we're using AMD again, yay. I just personally wanted to see it in action, maybe some kind of visual comparison to see the performance and the visual gains, but I guess we'll have to wait a few more years before that even happens since they don't even have the hardware ready at this point. But at least with Sony, we know that we're getting a next generation console from them, whereas the stuff around Xbox lately is kind of like, we'll have to see what happens. So there's been a lot of questions around if we'll see another Xbox, and a lot of that has to do with the 2 recent price increases for their hardware, which, let's be honest, that last price increase is kind of pricing them out of the market right now. And then on top of that, Costco randomly stopped selling Xboxes, which was also kind of weird. And then, of course, last week we talked about the huge price increase for Game Pass Ultimate. So it kind of makes it feel like Microsoft is struggling to make gaming make sense from a financial standpoint after all these price increases. Either way, it wasn't looking good for Xbox, which led to rumors that they may not even do a next generation console. I mean, even I kind of speculated about it in previous videos, especially after that second price increase. So with all the rumors and speculation swirling around, Microsoft has finally responded. So Microsoft responded to the rumors about them basically canceling their next generation console. They gave the following statement to Windows Central. We are actively investing in our first-party consoles and design devices engineered and built by Xbox. For more details, the community can revisit our agreement announcement with AMD. So basically, Microsoft was like, of course we're still committed to the next generation console. Remember how we made that agreement with AMD and we put out that video? See, y'all be forgetting stuff. Y'all just be forgetting stuff. Of course we're committed. So yeah, for now, Microsoft is claiming that a next-gen Xbox that's made by Microsoft is coming. Now, if that's literally just a PC running the version of Windows that they made for the Xbox Ally, I wouldn't be surprised. But it looks like for now, another Xbox is coming. But aside from confirming that they're working on another Xbox, they also offered clarity about some news that was going around last week. So it was reported along with the Game Pass price update that Xbox got rid of the 10% discount for Call of Duty DLC that you previously got as a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber. Well, Xbox confirmed that it wasn't just Call of Duty, but it was all games in which the discount had been removed from. So instead of doing a discount for DLC, Microsoft is now offering people more rewards points, which can be used to purchase other things, except for a Game Pass subscription, because they removed that option and now you have to buy an Xbox gift card and you can use that. You know what? Never mind. But I also covered that story last week, so I just wanted to make sure that I put out clarification in this video But overall, I feel like them offering the discount was better, and this, similar to when they removed the option to use rewards to just buy more Game Pass directly, it's just more convoluted. Just as convoluted as this whole EA sale announcement from last week. So last week we talked about EA announcing that they're being purchased for $55 billion by the Saudi Arabia Investment Fund as well as 2 other investment firms. So after the sale of EA was announced, there have been some analysts analyzing what EA might do during the sale process, and one of the big rumors is that they may try to sell off some of their studios. So analysts are speculating that EA may try to sell off some of their studios. Specifically, they called out BioWare because they haven't had a big game do big numbers in a long time, with The Last Dragon Age underperforming when it came to EA's expectations. And also, it's mentioned in the GameSpot article that with BioWare working on Mass Effect 4 and the fact that EA already cut down their team, that would make them a prime target to be sold off. They also mentioned DICE and Maxis as possibilities, but Sims 4 is also one of their best-selling games, so that one seems unlikely. But the reason that analysts are speculating that they may sell some of their studios is because the companies that are buying EA are taking on a $20 billion debt to do so. So the way that they could pay off this debt quicker would be to sell some of the studios. Some of the analysts also mentioned that they believe that EA won't be taking risk initially on projects, even with them going private, until this debt is satisfied, which makes sense because they're going to need to get that money paid back as quickly as possible. So yeah, with the aspect of the $20 billion debt, this does change how things may go for EA with the sale. It would be nice if BioWare could go independent if they do end up selling them, but we'll have to wait and see how this whole thing turns out. But while it may take some time for the EA sale to close, it won't be much longer before Valve releases some new hardware. In fact, that's what we're talking about today. And our final story. So it's been rumored for a while that Valve is working on a new VR headset, aka the follow-up to the Valve Index, because it's a little dated now. So according to Chinese analyst firm XR Research Institute, Valve is very close to being done with their follow-up to the Valve Index, codenamed Deckard. There's no specs included in this leak, but they're claiming that it'll release at the end of this year. So like in a month and a half. Now, normally I would say that that's too short of a time for the announcement and release, but it's a VR headset, so it's already a niche market anyway, and it's Valve, so they try to keep everything tight-lipped until right before it releases. The rumor also states that they're planning to produce 400,000 to 600,000 units a year, so they expect it to be a lower volume product. Now personally, I try to stay on the cheaper side of VR headsets, but I am interested to see what they do as a follow-up to the Index from a tech standpoint. But let me know what you think down in the comments. Do you think we'll actually see Valve's new headset in a month and a half? And what new features would you be excited for from a high-end VR headset? Again, let me know down below. And if you enjoyed this video, then make sure to tell a friend, tell a coworker, like, share, and subscribe, and hit that bell notification button thing wherever it is. I always forget where it is on the screen. To be notified when I drop a video or a live. And I always do at least 2 things at the same time.